I am safe. I am enhanced. I am supported. All is well.
Happy day, everyone. I am Erica Kesse here with another episode of Try on Thriving. I am so pleased to be here today. I'm a love force with mysterious wisdom, celebrating life. And I have Nerissa here. Nerissa, let us know about you.
Good morning, Erica. First, let me just say thank you for this platform. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate all that you're doing for women and thriving on this platform. But yes, good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Nerissa Malloy, and I'm a business consultant. I work with rapidly growing CEOs to help them step out of the operations so that they can step into expansion without burnout. And as with a background of healthcare leadership as a registered nurse, I look at the total health of your business. So we look at you, the CEO, your people, your processes, and your profits so you can grow a sustainable business.
Mm, I love that word expansion. It makes me feel so good. Yeah, I like that word. Expansion. And that's what we're here to do
Yes.
today. And the only way you can expand is to also know what you got and what's going on with you, to really have an understanding of yourself. Because how can you expand if you don't know what's there to expand?
Yeah.
So Nerissa, as a CEO,
Mm-hmm.
so I know you provide COO services, you provide consultations to business, but you yourself are CEO of your business. And
Right.
you understand that it takes a thriving you to have a thriving business. I know you understand that because you're here with us today.
Yeah.
So how was it for you to complete the Thrive plan? So that's one of the things that we do. I
Mm-hmm.
give to each of the CEOs that come to this particular podcast is they do the Thrive plan, which is a self awareness
Mm-hmm.
reflection time of understanding what are your conflicts that show up, how does it
Mm-hmm.
show up in your body and your triggers, how does it make you go to your trauma responses, and then
Mm-hmm.
what is the coping that you do to help yourself not go straight to the trauma but
Mm-hmm.
more into getting back regulated, back content, and then who supports you, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times CEOs are supporting a lot of people and influencing a lot of people with their modeling of themselves.
Right.
So, Nerissa, how was that doing that Thrive plan?
So the Thrive Plan, it helped with a lot of self-awareness, and it confirmed some things that I've been, battling with, but it just confirmed like, okay, I already know this is how I cope with these specific things, these specific traumas. But what was great for me, I don't know who else takes the Thrive Plan, but when I went to the coping mechanisms, I was just clicking, because over the past couple of years, especially as a registered nurse, again, with that background, being in COVID, being a full-time caretaker of my dad, growing a business, I had to learn, especially managing grief, because we talked about trauma, managing grief from stepping away from a job that you've had for so long, leaders that you've hired and trained, staff that you supported. It was a grieving process because you miss that environment. So that navigation, I had to learn so many different ways of coping. So going through the list with the meditation, that was the big thing. Prayer, of course, I'm very faith driven, so that's a given. But the affirmations, talking with friends, self reflection, being intentional. But most important is delegation, because as a nurse, a lot of times, and other nurses will identify with me with this piece, we don't delegate. We can do it all, because the time it takes to call the secretary, to call the tech, we can just knock it out. We are generally in the hospital, the pharmacist, the security, you name it, all nurses do it all. And so when you step into entrepreneurship, you cannot take that trait with you. You have to
Come
learn to
on.
delegate. So delegating, leveraging, that's something I am keen on, and I've always done it, but that's something I really stick to, and that helps me thrive for sure. If I know, and we talked about this the other day, and sometimes I think, I could just knock this out, and then it takes more time than it was supposed to. Then I'm like, I should have just handed it off, not even thought about it, not even make it a second thought, just hand it off. So delegation is key in thriving. And so the Thrive Plan helped me to just reconfirm, especially when I took it at the beginning of the year. It was right on time to say, all right, keep doing what you're doing. Here's some areas you could tweak. and just keep on thriving. So thank you for that.
Oh, you know, I appreciate you
Mm-hmm.
being able to see that. I love it when people see it and they say, "Hey, I'm doing great."
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I love it when people see themselves, period. Like, it's the most important thing is to see yourself and then make decisions about being the best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Thrive Plan is. What is it that you're going to do to see the best version of yourself? But also, it's a praise report.
Yeah.
It's a praise report. I've made it this far,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how I have been able to. And you can look at it because it's just one page. You
Yeah.
can look and see all that you're able to accomplish. And then it makes you feel inspired to do
Mm-hmm.
even more of it and
Absolutely.
be even more conscious about when it's showing up inside of you
Mm-hmm.
so that you can nip it in the bud quickly. Yes.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, I created the Thrive Plan from me. You talked about grief. I lost a
Mm-hmm.
child
Oh, sorry to hear that.
and lost my will to live
Mm-hmm.
and lost everybody around me who I thought was supposed to be my social support system.
Mm.
And so what I did, because as a therapist, you're in the healthcare field as an RN. Oh my goodness, we got to get into that. You're
Yeah.
in the healthcare field, but as a therapist, I was seeing people, and I lost my child on the Monday. I went to work that weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was not, I was going to be, one of my trauma responses is fight,
Mm-hmm. Me too.
right?
I don't fight. I fight.
Maybe
Mhm. And it just keeps
fight.
going,
Keep on
overthinking, like,
going.
oh.
Listen,
Mhm.
I'm about to go ahead and get this done. I'm going to get
Yes.
this done. And then another thing about me is I'm a single mother. So like, I couldn't lay down. I couldn't,
Yeah.
even though I lost my will to live, I couldn't just lay down somewhere. I still got to get done. I still got to
Right.
make ends meet.
Right.
So I went to work that weekend and I was feeling, I had lost my will to live. And I said, what did the therapist do? I said to myself, what are you supposed to do when your client lose their will to live? What we do is safety plan. A
Mm.
safety plan walks out how you're going to plan to live.
Yeah.
But that is a tool that is in response to something that's happening. Why we don't have something that lets us thrive all the time? Why do we have
Right.
something preventative? That's
Right.
what the Thrive Plan is. So as an
Amazing.
RN, tell
Mm-hmm.
us about that. Whew, in COVID.
Mm. So just going back, I can't believe it was 5 years already. But as an RN, as a leader, as a director, running 4 departments, over 100 direct reports, 4 leaders, it was stressful because I showed up when everyone was home. I was driving to work and putting on scrubs. I found myself as charge nurse, sometimes backing up the floor, doing a lot of triage. So I wasn't that director that was in the office. I was, how can I support? How can we help? We're all in this together.
Hmm.
And so that's what leadership is.
Come on.
You know, when things are going, you're diving in to say, okay, how can I help? Not just standing from the background like y'all figure it out. How can we come together, and what do you do? What can you do? How can we figure this out? Someone is sick. Can you come in 4 hours, this hours, or I'll stay till this time till someone come in at 10? I mean, it took a lot of self-sacrifice, and it really did burn me out, honestly. But
Mm.
at the time, I mean, we all know what it was like during COVID, and with our healthcare workers and all the stuff, the equipment, like all the different things. That was trauma. So it really helped to solidify a lot of things. And then as we progressed out of it, I still remained for about 2 years after COVID, but then I knew that it was time to definitely transition. The Lord was pulling me in a different direction to leave, not knowing that I was going to become a full-time caretaker while doing my
Mm.
business. And so it was all, I just say it was all God's work, God's plan. You know, sometimes you feel like I have a plan. I'm leaving my job, I'm going full time, and it's going to be like this. And don't get me wrong, I thrived that year, but I still had to thrive and be a caretaker and move my dad in my home. And it was hard watching your parents slowly die while you're trying to still grow a business. And so I mean, we could go on forever, but we're talking about thriving. And it's funny, Erica, I don't know if I could You may have to edit it out, but I just released a podcast episode on being resilient through setbacks. And so I probably need to dive deeper and do a double and to just talk about that piece alone. But entrepreneurs, if you are a CEO, if you're an entrepreneur, you're leading a business, running a team, you're going to have setbacks. How do you thrive through
Come on.
that and not just abandon ship? I've seen it. You have people relying on you for a product and a service. You can't. Well, no matter what life throws at you, you have a responsibility to show up for yourself, for your team, and for your people. So that's what thriving is, regardless of what's going on, knowing what do you need to do to cope so you can show up
Yes.
better for your people and for the people
Yes.
that are paying you to support them and
Yes.
trusting you to support them.
Come on now. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are given a purpose to
Mm-hmm.
deliver, and we're put in places. So you got to, as a leader, keep a cool head. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be able to fix it.
Yeah.
That's why I teach. As soon as you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, some triggers, sensations coming in, start having headaches, start having sweaty hands,
Mm-hmm.
you start feeling dryness in the mouth, or like whatever it takes, whatever you start doing when you are feeling triggered, when you get those signals, you start overthinking, you
Mm-hmm.
start getting busy doing all kinds of stuff, you start whatever
Staying up
you'll
late,
start
worry. Mm-hmm. Can't sleep.
can't sleep.
Can't sleep. It's just playing in your head over and over. Mm-hmm.
When you have those things, you got to stop,
Mm-hmm.
stop, reflect, stop,
Mm-hmm.
be with yourself, stop, do
Stop.
whatever it takes for you to get filled back up
Mm-hmm.
so that
Absolutely.
then you can overflow the right circumstance. You can influence and model well. Yes, a
Absolutely.
CEO has to have this,
Yes.
or you're going to have situations where your fears, your traumas, your triggers are going to be overflowing onto the
On other
people who
people.
you're influencing instead of thriving.
Absolutely.
Don't get me started today, Nerissa.
Yeah.
Girl, you was a caregiver too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just sit around, and you think,
Yeah.
how did you do it? You took it one
One
step at a
day at a
time.
time, one
Ooh,
bite. What they say with the
be
elephant,
the elephant,
one bite at a time.
one bite at a time.
One bite at a
And
time.
every time, and so to soothe ourselves and to care for ourselves, one bite at a time, that bite don't taste right, you stop, put a little seasoning on it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yep. You do
Do
what
something
works.
that make it better for
Do
yourself,
what
even
works.
in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not endure.
Yep.
We're not here to endure.
Nope.
We're here to allow ourselves to have at least some goodness in every step of the way, in the present, every step of the way, really thinking about how we're feeling.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we want to say, people want to separate business
Mm-hmm.
and being a CEO from your feelings, but it should not be. That is informing you. That's
Mm-hmm.
data.
Yeah.
It's data. It's informing you that you, wait a minute, this is how I'm feeling right now. Stop. Why don't you do some deep breathing? Why don't
Mm-hmm.
you meditate?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk to a safe friend?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's big.
Woo. So I definitely think that your podcast, make sure, what's the name of your podcast so people can go?
The Unshakable Podcast.
The Unshakable Podcast. Go
Mm-hmm.
look it up, y'all, and check out that one on resilience.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle setbacks? Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for letting
Thank
us
you.
know about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still wanna keep chatting
Sure.
with you a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
about. Wow, you said you stayed in your career for 2 years, and it made you transmute that into a consultant now that can
Mm-hmm.
look at the whole business. Tell us about that.
You know, I never imagined when I became a nurse 21 years ago, Well, apart from that, I've always been in some type of sales, direct sales company, selling something, hosting events. Like I was that person that networked. My gift is being a shepherd, bringing people together, moving people to action. And so I never imagined that all of those different skill sets would have come together to be an operational consultant with a leadership background, because you take the nursing, the caring, the nurturing part, and then also the operations, managing different departments, understanding how the hospital works, how all the outside entities come together to work with my departments to make sure that we are working together, and how to get all the different staff to work together for on one accord. So doing that, and then also the business aspect, how to run a business. Yes, there's a budget. Yes, there's staffing. We have to be accountable. Yes, we have to know our numbers. How do we set metrics? How do we know who's performing? And so pulling that all together in business, I would have never imagined God would have done that for me, or I would have never imagined that. And so that's how it all came together. So I started out coaching professionals that stepped out of healthcare to start a business, helping them to identify their expertise and get started. But then I realized there was a bigger gap, because those who did it, they were taking off, but they lacked the business acumen. And
Yes.
so I was like, okay, that's where I can come in and show you how you can implement these different strategies so you can have a sustainable business, not affect the quality of care you deliver, and still you can be sustainable and not do it all. You need to delegate. You need to figure out who can help you do this. You can't be the therapist seeing all the clients and then wonder why your VA is doing so much or not doing enough. You have to delegate. You can't be buried in the work and expect the business to grow. You're going to drop a lot of balls, and you're not going to have a sustainable business. It's like building a business on quicksand. And so that's how that transition happened. And it's been great ever since. It was great meeting a lot of CEOs. The one thing that I do find is that there are some CEOs that have a microwave mentality. They want to see quick fixes, which you can have quick fixes for sure, but is it sustainable?
Come on.
And if you've already gone too far off the deep end and done so much, of course, you've probably had burns where you feel like you've invested here and there and you have not received what you wanted. And so you may be hesitant, which I totally understand. But with operations, you have to make sure that you have, even if it's not an advisor or operations manager, somebody that you can turn to, even if it's a monthly meeting at
Come
first, just
on.
advisory, just so they can confirm that you are making the right decisions as far as leadership, team, how are you tracking? You'd be surprised how many systems are not in place. There's no bookkeeping, it's a lot. And so coming into this space, being, as a nurse, we're there to recognize and prevent emergencies from happening. So I do the same thing in your business. Like, listen, if I see something
Yes.
pending, how can we fix this before you bottom out in your business? How can we make sure you're not hemorrhaging resources, hemorrhaging money in your business? So those are the type of things that I look for in businesses.
Ooh, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what a COO does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Operations person does, definitely. Making sure, seeing the risk, and let's put something in place to alleviate that now. Let's be preventative. But
Preventative.
but but a lot of times we go into these businesses and we got to clean up and clean
Yeah.
out a whole lot of
Clean
stuff.
up and clean out.
And it's a whole lot of cleaning up and cleaning out. Then you got to reset. You got to
Yeah.
reset everybody and everything to the way in which it will not be like it used to be. But going back to what we're talking about with trauma and triggers, you're accustomed to doing a particular particular traumas
Mm-hmm.
on a regular basis. So you're accustomed to them and you'll go to them quickly, but we need to not go to them. We have to stop it in its tracks.
Right.
And that's exactly that's why. So I also say the Thrive Plan is an operating system. And you'll see that you can go to bit.ly/your Thrive Plan, or you can see it in the link in the podcast. it is a self-awareness so you can get to know yourself, but also how do you operate
Mm-hmm.
so you don't stay in the trauma, in the trigger, or you don't even go to the trauma. The issue is to never go to your trauma responses. We're not supposed to go to trauma responses.
Right.
We're supposed to feel this sensation and immediately move into coping.
Right.
So asking you that, what are some new coping skills that you may want to try on or do now? Now that you've done the Thrive plan and now that you're thinking more specifically about how it looks in your life.
So I'm glad you asked that question, because starting this year, I took a social media hiatus because I wanted to make sure I removed distractions. I was in alignment with what I want to do and not be swayed by what I see going into the new year. And so one thing I was convicted of is really creating more time for the things that I love to do, family, those type of things. I started cooking more because I used to feel like, oh, I don't got time to cook. But now I'm gonna make time, for those type of things. We always eat dinner together, but we eat out and we bring it in. And so, no, we're gonna cook and eat dinner together. It's the little things you'll be surprised. And as a CEO, as an unshakable CEO,
Come
when
on,
you look at
unshakable.
the whole person, you do have to take in consideration not just your business, but the family, your support system, your spouse, your partner, your finances, your health. I got me a walking pad. It's right there under my chair. So I just pull it out and knock out 25 minutes, do a mile. I don't care, judge your mother, a mile, however long it takes. I make sure I get it done a couple times a week. So I set realistic goals, things that are not a heavy lift, just for better well-being. But the one thing that I want to do, and I think I need to lock this down ASAP, I want to do
Okay,
a
wait a
boxing
minute.
class.
Stop before you do it.
Mhm.
Don't say it here, because
Mhm.
I'm gonna hold you accountable.
I know. I'm gonna have to write it down and put a date, make it a SMART goal. I know, but I have to do some research, find it, look at the schedule. So there's some things before I do that, before I commit. But I want to do a boxing class.
Come on.
Yeah, so I want to do boxing like one day a week in the midst of everything. So that's one thing that I want to do. If not boxing, a dance class, one of the two, something like that. Mhm.
You know what? See, yes. Okay. And I know that, so as a person, I call myself a therapeutic COO.
Mhm.
I am looking at the well-being
Mhm.
of the CEO, because I know that they're the ones that really is the business looks
Yeah.
like them. If they're depressed, if they have anxiety, imposter syndrome, whatever, it is
Mhm.
if it's showing up in the business. So I
Mhm.
have to look at the well-being of what the lens I come from as a licensed professional counselor is. I'm looking at that CEO. It's really personalized. I'm gonna be right there, second in command, checking and watching and seeing what they're doing. Okay, that's fear. Oh, no. We let's talk about this.
Mhm.
Why are we doing this behavior? What is going on with the staff and how they're behaving and interacting with you? We need to ask what happened
Right.
or what has been going on that is causing this whole situation to happen. Yes. So listen, you and I can talk all
I
day
know.
long
We'll talk
regarding
forever.
being operational people interacting with CEOs. And
Mhm.
but I want to say I love that you're unshakable. And I love
Mhm.
that unshakable CEO, because I know as a CEO in my business, because I have a COO,
Mhm.
I'm shaky with her. Like when I say, for example, I have bought. I told her last week, I feel like a bottleneck this week. Like I just have not allowed you to move
Yeah.
as well this week because I had so much, me coming back from the holidays and everybody's ready to go.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I cannot do anything other than take care of them. I'm happy that I did all my planning, but I can't do any other movement right now.
Yeah.
And it should not have been that way. It
Yeah.
should have been that we continue to move, even though I couldn't move. And that's what I want to have happen in my business. So,
Yeah.
so I love that you're the unshakable CEO, and that makes sorry. That's right. You are the unshakable CEO, and that you are one that's going to help CEOs to become unshakable as well. And how do they do that? They must have their systems in place. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for your time today. And tell us, how can we support you?
So I am definitely, I do have spaces open to work with other CEOs that are in expansion mode, fast growing. You may have a team of 5 people or more, but either way, one common theme I hear a lot is the hiring and team optimization. So I do provide those services. If you are having challenges finding and training the right people, I can come in as that person on a project basis for 90 days and help you hire and delegate, identify your exact needs, find that person, delegate to them what you're going to take off your plate. If there's any training or hands-on support, I can do that for your first 1 to 2 key roles. So if you are a CEO or COO and you need that support for your current team or to expand your team, we can definitely come in and help you do that so that you cannot burn out. You can ensure that you have the right people in the right place doing the right things so you can grow your business the right way.
I love hearing.
Expand your business the right way.
I love hearing people and what they have to offer to other people.
Mhm,
And because every time if I know I'm in alignment with somebody, I think I know she needs to know this person. She needs to know this person.
mhm.
And Nerissa, I got 2 people that you need to know. And
Okay.
so I'll make sure that I connect you with those people. Oh my goodness, I think
Thank you.
be so good. And we need to talk even more. So I would
Mhm.
love to continue to talking with
Yeah,
you about that. So you all, thank y'all so
thank
much
you.
for thank you so much, Nerissa. Thank you for coming and chatting with me in the show, Try on Thriving. I am Erica Kesse, your therapeutic COO and the host of Try on Thriving. And you all have and create a thriving rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
I am safe. I am enhanced. I am supported. All is well.